Hey, Pawn family, welcome back to another episode of the Pawn Leaders Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't joined us already, please join us on Facebook at Pawn Leaders Podcast Community, where we talk about the podcast episodes and any questions within the pawn industry. I'm excited to have my guest on. I heard him speak. I've read his book. With me, I have Mike Michalowicz, who is the author of Profit First, Surge, The Pumpkin Plan, and his newest release, Clockwork. By his 35th birthday, Mike has founded and sold 2 companies, one to private equity, and another to a Fortune 500 company. Today, he's running his 3rd multi-million-dollar venture, so I believe he knows what he's talking about, Profit First Professionals. Mike is a former small business columnist for the Wall Street Journal and the former business makeover specialist on MSNCB. Over the years, Mike has traveled the globe speaking with thousands of entrepreneurs, and he's here today to share the best of what he has learned. Mike, welcome to the show.
Yigal, thank you so much for having me.
No, I'm super excited. You know, the pawn industry doesn't get a lot of resources like yourself. You've written many books about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And one thing that stood out to me in reading your book was this one phrase that your mission is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty.
Yeah.
Let's start there real quick. What does that mean? What is entrepreneurial poverty?
Yeah. So it's this misperception about us. The day you start your pawn shop, the day you start any business, all of your friends think, oh my God, you're a millionaire. Like that day, like, oh my God, you're an entrepreneur, you're a millionaire. And they think you don't actually work that hard for it. You have the luxury of doing whatever you want, when you want. The reality is you are usually tied hook, line, sinker into your business. All your time is devoted to it. And you are far from a millionaire. Even when your business makes $1 million in revenue, which they think means you are taking $1 million, you are still taking home 0. Entrepreneurial poverty is this facade of success, but the reality of the day-to-day struggle. And I don't just say this from a theoretical standpoint. I've lived through it. After I sold my companies, I tried another business that was an abject failure, and I ran out of cash. It was devastating. Nearly declared bankruptcy, yet kept up this air of success. That's what entrepreneurial poverty is. And I ever since living through this, realized it is a systemic problem for so many entrepreneurs and business owners that I've devoted my life to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. Hopefully my books are doing that, and hopefully they live beyond my lifetime and continue to serve people in getting back time, getting back money, being profitable, and living the business that they dreamed of.
Love it, man. I know that when I speak at the conventions, you know,
Yeah.
the one thing I teach is clarity, is being honest with where you are. And I believe that we all go to these conventions and we're all sitting around the bar and we're all talking about, oh, business is doing well, business is doing great, everything is good. But we're back there as pawnbrokers, melting as much gold just to make payroll, trying to figure out how we're going to pay the bills. And that's why I brought you on, because I think that this idea of profit first kind of 180 turn on the way that we think.
Yeah, I think so. You know, to your point, the bar conversation is a lot of chest pounding. You know, it's like, oh, I got a $5 million of transactions. Oh, I had 6 million. You know, I'm better. I have more employees. I have more inventory. It's all about size. But profit first, I propose a new argument, and it's about the health of our business. Like the next time someone says, how big is your pawn shop? Say, you know, before we discuss that, let's talk about how healthy our pawn shop is. And it's kind of this adjustment in our mindset, because then we focus on what matters. The problem I discovered, and I talk about in Profit First, is that we have been told, all entrepreneurs, all business owners, that profit actually comes last. We're told profit's the bottom line, or it's the year end. We actually use vernacular that says it comes last. Even in the formula, it's sales minus expenses equals profit. But when profit comes last, it means that consideration can wait. It's kind of like your health. If you say, you know what, my health doesn't matter, I'm going to put it last. But it's not like you're going to go out and start exercising, eating better. But the day you say, oh my gosh, I'm putting my health first, something that comes first gets prioritized and focused on. Something that comes last is the manana syndrome. So in Profit First, I say no longer are we putting profit as the last consideration. We're going to focus on the health of your company. Profit's going to come first. The new formula is sales minus profit, take your profit first, equals expenses.
When I heard that in the book, I was surprised. It took me back to when I owned the pawn shops, and I was remembering when, you know, we had millions of dollars in pawn, millions of dollars in revenue, 50 employees, 3 locations. But there were years where we would like struggle to pay the payroll. We'd have to melt everything, close out merchandise. And it was tough. So when I started listening to the book, first I told myself, man, I wish I had this 10 years ago, right? I wish I had this way of thinking. And the second thing was, Mike, you're crazy. This is the pawn shop. This is a different type of business.
You don't
All the
get
money
me.
goes back into the lending. So
Yeah.
in the pre-interview, I said, we're going to piss some people off.
Yeah.
We're also going to wake up some minds. And in the group that I lead, the Pawn Leaders Mastermind, one of the guys said, I read his book. I loved it. And I didn't implement the whole thing, but the biggest thing I implemented was the tax account. And so now I've never had to worry about paying taxes.
Yeah. Huge, right?
So
what I ask people, because what we're about to hear, I get there will be skepticism, and I get it. In fact, I was skeptical of the system, and I'm the guy who created it. The reason I did it was out of desperation. When I lost all my money and was starting a new business, I had to be profitable to pay off my past debts. I had to be profitable and never live that again. So I started this system, and it took me the implementation of it to convince myself this works for myself. Also, just to give you a sense, we have over 75,000 businesses that are now using this, all types of industry. Pawn shops, I use indicators, one using it. Pawn shops are using this. So it's out there and established. This isn't just theory. What the core concept is every time revenue comes into your business, money comes in, we take a predetermined percentage of that money and allocate it toward profit and other purposes. Maybe allocate a percentage toward tax and so forth. But here's the point. When we start a business and we say, you know what, I intend to have a 10% bottom line, 10% profit, for example. Well, if we take it first, we take the 10% out, now there's the money left over, we're basically reverse engineering the profitability. That is all the money you have to run your business. If you can't sustain your business off that remainder, that is your business telling you there's something fundamentally wrong with the business. I mean, you said you're going to make a 10% profit or whatever that number is, and now you can't do it. We got to fix the business. Sadly, most people do the reverse. 100% of the money comes in is 100% of that money that goes out. And they hope that one day, it's a hope, one day I'll be profitable, but they keep doing the same pattern. 100% of that comes in, 100% goes out. And we always use soft terms. We don't say we blow the money. We say we're growing, we're reinvesting, we're plowing back. We use terms that make us feel good. But I've seen businesses in every industry go, their revenue goes from startup to 500,000 to $1 million, 2, 3, and just keeps on climbing. But their expenses go from 0 to 500,000 to $1 million. And it's almost uncanny. We have to force in this gap of removing the profit, extracting it, hiding it away from ourselves, and then forcing our business to survive, to thrive off the remainder.
In your experience, because I heard you say this right now, I don't think I started my business and I said, I want to make X amount of profit.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that way. So I'm guessing that a very small percentage of people say, okay, I'm going to start a business and my goal is to have a 10% profit, a 15% profit.
Yeah. Most people say, I want to be rich. I'm starting a business to be rich, right? Okay, great. What's rich? Because for some people, it's just a few more dollars in their pocket. Maybe they already have wealth. It's just a little more wealth accumulation. So I could just give you like $2 or $3 and say, congratulations, you're richer. You are richer. Yeah. But we have to define it. So if you started a business and you already exist or you are just starting out, it's regardless. Today, we have to define what success is. I also realize often once we achieve that success, there'll be a new plateau saying, well, now that I'm rich, now I want to give back or do something else. But define what is the next plateau of success. And if we define around money, and I think it's absolutely critical that we do, to define what kind of bonus am I giving myself at the end of the year? What kind of salary am I giving myself throughout the year? How are my taxes addressed? Are they paid for me by the business or am I worrying about the taxes? Write it down. Then we can reverse engineer it. And once you know, say I want to take home a $100,000 salary. I want to take home a $50,000 check on Christmas or whatever morning you celebrate, Christmas morning or New Year's, whatever. I want to have a $50,000 bonus check. Well, that's a $50,000 profit, $100,000 owner's compensation. We then have to reverse engineer our business to achieve that. And what you do is you do it on a percentage-based system. If I achieve $1 million in revenue, my target, and I take 5% of that, that's $50,000. There's my profit. So now I'm going to set myself at 5% profit. If I achieve $1 million in revenue, I'll take 10% of that to pay my compensation. And that leaves remainder, in this case, 85% to take care of everything else.
In your equation, sales minus profit equals expenses, it made me, when I was listening, it made me realize that expenses are now looked at with like a magnifying glass, right? Because if I'm selling, if I'm making money, then I take out the profit. I need to be able to pay my bills with the remainder. And if I can't, I'm in trouble.
Right. It is that clear. And all of a sudden now the attention goes, what's wrong with first my bills, right? First, like, why do I have these bills that I can't afford to pay? Is my business taking on unnecessary costs? And I'll tell you, Yigal, I would say 10 to 20% of our costs in almost any business I've ever consulted has always had, and they could cut 10 to 20% costs. There's an inflation of cost. It's like that software subscription we signed up for, or, I thought it'd be cool to have the cable television running in the background, and now I'm paying a cable bill of $100 a month. Or all these costs kind of add up and we forget about them. What if we just delete them? What if really no one gives a crap about TV? They're grateful actually not to be watching TV. So we can delete costs. The second component, though, is this, because cost, you can cut 10, 20%, I think, easily. There's a certain point you start cutting the muscle of the business, and that will cripple the business. But the other side is margin, right? So there's cost and margin. Margin can grow infinitely. So we have to look at, how are we running our business where we can increase margin? Do we have the I don't know if the term is loan rates, but, for the items that we're pawning, are we getting the right dollar amount for it? Can we be selling them for a higher premium? What can we do to dictate higher margins? And almost any business, when we really start applying our mind to it, can find innovative ways to increase margin and easy ways to cut costs.
Love it. So I want to talk about the elephant in the room, the pawnbrokers listening. The mentality of a pawnbroker is this: I want to grow my loan balance, just like a bank does, right? Have as much money out on the street.
Right.
So all the profit that comes in, I want to reinvest it, like you said.
Yeah, right.
Right, back into the pawn loans.
Yep.
What ends up happening, Mike, is that you have entrepreneurial poverty for years from pawnbrokers.
Yeah.
Because they are consistently thinking that they're just growing their loan balance, which they could be. Either they're taking loans for the money, paying high premium dollar loans, or they're just, holding on to inventory. They're hiring more people than they should. Expenses are going out the roof. What is like the first step? Let's talk about the first step.
Yeah. So the first step is you got to really understand, why do you want to grow? What's the end game of that? And I believe in growth, but for the right purpose. Inevitably, when I ask people why they want to grow, it gets back actually to profit. I want to be bigger, to have more sales. If I have more sales, more money comes in, means I'm more profitable. So the goal is profit, but we're starting off with this mechanism. Think about weight. If someone wants to become bigger, some guys like to get bigger. There's two ways of doing it. You can just eat a lot of junk food and become a tub of lard, or you can hit the weight room and get muscle mass, which actually is heavier and denser, and is obviously far healthier. So when we look at growth first, we're just looking at putting on size without the consideration of healthy size. So that brings us back to profit. If we're looking to grow to facilitate profit, we must consider profit first. Then we focus on what drives that profit. When we start taking a percentage of money toward profit, it starts changing our perspective of our business. It uses that magnifying glass, and we say, well, what's actually the profitable things we do? Maybe gold is not the answer, actually. Maybe it's the worst thing to be involved in. Maybe there's other items that actually could be more successful. Maybe you become a niche specialist that you only pawn for the music community or something. I don't know what it is, but you can become really specialized, where often specialty means premium. And you start focusing there. But here's what I found most fascinating is people who focus on profit first inevitably actually grow faster than their competition. Why? Because they focus on the things that drive profitability. They focus on the customers that are actually the most profitable. So what's the demographic that responds the most? They concentrate effort, and they ditch the superfluous stuff. They have to, because they're focused on profit. They have to ditch stuff that's not working. And when you focus on what's working, you start building a reputation. Now you're not the pawn dealer who's just working with people in your local community. Now you start becoming known for a specialty and start attracting people from a much more global community. So it's almost ironic that when you focus on profit, of our 75,000 companies that do this, consistently we see them outgrowing their competition faster and far healthier. They're not putting on weight, just put on weight. They're putting on muscle.
I love that. One thing you said in your book, you said that two things. You said one, that your business can become an out of control cash eating monster. Yeah. Which I think the pawn shop can become, because we're dealing in cash consistently. Yeah. And the other thing that you said was that the right size will find you. I think that because of this attaboy and go get 'em attitude
Yes.
sometimes, we grow faster than we should,
Yes.
creating more expenses than we should.
Yeah. And it's ego. It's ego. It's like, who's got the biggest house on the block? Who's got the biggest car on the block? I care who can afford their house and car, right? So there's people, those huge houses that you go in, you open the door and it's lawn furniture because they can't afford that house, and then they're getting booted out a year or two later. That doesn't impress me. Actually, I feel that's sad. So in our business, I encourage everyone listening, like, don't worry about how big you are. That doesn't impress. That doesn't impress me, and it doesn't impress a lot of people. What impresses me is how healthy your business is. What impresses me is your focus on profitability. And as you do this, your business will naturally grow, but you'll also find the right size. For me, I had a company with 30 employees, and I found actually I didn't like it. Like, I just didn't know them intimately. My new company has about 10 employees. I know everyone. I know their life story. I know their family. I love it at this size. Will grow bigger. It is naturally, but I know when we hit about 30 employees, I didn't like that last go around, and that's cool. So I'm just letting the right size business find me and not forcing to grow for growth's sake.
There's also got to be like a kind of a mental state when you are bringing home profit, you sleep better at night. When you're consistently consuming the profit, it's, sleepless nights, fights with your spouse, anger at your kids, eating, just eating. So you become a tub of lard because of the anxiety, right? Yeah. Like, there's got to be some like a good like mental state because you're thinking profit first, right?
Yeah, I call it the stress-o mess, right? I mean, we come home with this knotted up stress. When there's a lack of profitability, we go into this survival thing. It's similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow said we have these physiological needs. We need oxygen and water and food to survive, and without it, we will do anything to bring that about. Once we have that, then belonging and love matters. And you can go all the way up to what's called self-actualization. Well, in the entrepreneurial kind of Maslowian hierarchy, the base level is profitability. If we don't have profitability, we panic, we starve. If there's no money coming in, it's like, I'll do anything. Next customer in the door, I don't care how bad of a deal I'm getting, at least it's money in the moment. Yeah. And we do these irrational things. We bring this stress home. Like, you don't know how hard I'm effing working to support this family. And inside, we're like, I have no money. I don't know what to do. And there's this fear and panic. Once you start bringing sustained profitability, and here's the miracle, even if it starts off very small, like 1% of your income is going toward profit. And we're talking that there's maybe every month, there's maybe $100 or $500 of new profit being added on, which isn't life-changing, but our mindset changes. We're like, oh my God, I got a few $100 saved up for the first time in my life, and it's profit. That's all for me. And then next month it grows and grows, and that stress starts to melt away so quickly. And it allows us then to focus on the business, bring balance back to our relationships. It's really a wonderful thing. It is the necessity of business life, profit.
I remember when you're talking about this, back when we first started the pawn shop, we'd make a sale and there was sales tax, 8%. Yeah. So we'd collect the sales tax. And then our accountant would be like, hey guys, we need $15,000 to pay the sales tax. And we'd be like, wait, where'd it go? Right. Bills with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand this. I want to get into like how to do this. You mentioned somebody who I met, Jesse Cole from Savannah Bananas.
Oh, you met Jesse?
Yeah. Incredible guy.
He's awesome, man.
Incredible business, incredible guy. What he does, the way he markets. I mean, just awesome. And I had no idea he was a profit first guy. But let's talk about like what a pawnbroker can do to start thinking profit first. Like what's the first step?
First thing to do is to determine how you how you manage your finances. Most business owners do what's called bank balance accounting. Instead of looking at our accounting system every day and figuring out where our cash situation is, many business owners, I suspect a lot of people watching, log into their phone or their computer, into their bank accounts and see how much money they have. And then we follow a simple rule. If we have money, we can spend it. We can make loans, but it goes back out. If we don't have money, panic ensues. And it's like, just get money in the door. If that's your natural behavior, I want you to realize it's actually a good thing that you do that. The consequence right now is bad, but it's good that you do that because we need to build a system that captures and channels that behavior to the outcome, profitability of what you want. So if you do bank balance accounting, here's the system. Instead of having one primary checking account where all your deposits come in and you're paying bills and making loans from, instead, set up different accounts with different purposes. There are what I call the foundational five, but I think for a pawn shop, you can even add more. But here's the foundational five. First, have an income account. This is like a serving tray of cash. Money comes in there. You never spend a dime from it. You just display how much money is available for the entirety of your business and your life. Then we're going to allocate or divide this money up based upon percentages. Next account's called profit. And literally at the bank, just re-nickname it profit. And we allocate a percentage of your money. I suggest starting very slowly, 1 or 2%. Over time, we'll start building the profit muscle and making that more money. Owner's compensation, which is distinct from profit. Profit is a reward for being an equity owner in a business. This is your year-end or quarter-end bonus. Owner's compensation is compensation for being the most important employee, the owner-operator. You work inside the business. This is your salary. Your lifestyle is that you have has to fall within your owner's compensation. The profit account is a bonus to celebrate, however you define that, above and beyond your lifestyle. Next account is called taxes. This is for your personal income taxes. And the final account is called operating expenses. And this is what you run your business off of. Start off by sampling these 5 accounts. And I even have a way to get started even slower, but those are the foundational 5. And I believe for pawn shops, we can add some more. That'll give us even more clarity of how our business is operating.
Yeah. I mean, what I can think of is, for example, for a pawn shop is having just an account, which is loan money. Like
yeah,
money
exactly. That's exactly.
And if you don't have the money, then you got to figure it out. But if you don't have the money to lend, you either figure out a way, but you don't use your expense money. You don't use your owner's compensation money. Right.
That's exactly it. And now we have the clarity. See, the problem is the next time someone comes in the door and you're about to make a loan, where are we looking? We're looking at that one account and we see all the money sitting there like, wow, we got enough money, no brainer. And we spend it, but we ignore profit. We ignore paying ourselves. We ignore the operating expenses of the business, and then panic ensues. Yeah. But if we have a loan account and we're putting a percentage in there, that's what we operate in within those confines. And it's like Thanksgiving dinner. At Thanksgiving, when that turkey gets taken out of the oven, no one says, hey, everyone grab a knife and fork. Everyone for themselves. Fight for it. Go, go, go. No. You carve the turkey and every guest gets an apportionment so everyone has something to eat. Well, one of the plates is the loan plate. We're going to put some turkey there, and that's for the loans. But other portions are being served to take care of the other guests that make up the entirety of the business.
Now, a question in the pawn industry would be, what if my loan balance if that account is growing faster than the other accounts? What if I need a lot more money than I have in there and I can't say no in a pawn shop? Like the minute you say no, the client goes somewhere else. You lost the client, you're finished. So everyone always thinks like, I can't say no.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about not saying no. Like if every customer walks in the door is a good customer, I question that business. There's got to be some qualifications because not all customers are the same. I suspect some loans get repaid, some don't. Some are trying to hawk some pawn some item that's a fake or whatever,
or crappy.
Yeah, crappy. Yeah. So I think we need to distinguish customers. We need to vet them. But that's just my own little thing. I vet my customers. But the thing is, if your business is making more loans than you can afford while addressing the rest of the business, that always puts the business in question. What's not working somewhere else? If there's more loans coming in, but I can't then put money into profit and I can't pay my expenses, that means I'm not profitable in the loans that I am making because it's not fueling it. So there's a problem in some other part of my business. And that's the idea of the profit first system. When we implement the profit first system, we're making the allocations of money before we actually use the money. Then when we go to use it, if it's incongruent with the allocations we've made, there's something fundamentally inconsistent with the plan we've set for ourselves. So anytime you can't do something in your business based on those allocations, don't borrow from another account. Look at yourself and say, something's fundamentally wrong here. What do I need to fix in my business? Is it on the loan side? Is it on the operating expenses side? Is it somewhere else? And then we got to fix there to get things back in alignment.
As I was listening to the book, I kept on thinking, self-accountability. Like this system is set up for self-accountability. So you can't just say like, oh, I've got money in the bank, I'm going to do it. You have to be like, no, wait a second. Every decision, I have to make, with precision. I have to know exactly how much money I have, which is essentially how successful business owners run their businesses.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that entrepreneurs miss on is we have a vision of where we want to go. Like we know what it feels like. And then we look at the immediate circumstances. We're always rushing to the urgent, the next thing that's needed. We don't have this kind of interim plan. What's the plan that'll get us from where we are to where we want to be? If we predefine our percentages, that's the pathway, right? And now when an immediate decision is incongruent with it, I don't have enough money to make a loan, or I don't have enough money to pay my expenses, then the system forces you to sit back for a second and make some hard decisions. The funny thing is, those hard decisions are going to happen. I can guarantee it to you. For most businesses, it happens the day they close the doors. That they're like, I just can't sustain anymore. We got to wrap things up, or declare bankruptcy, or fire half the staff, or melt gold out of a panic. Those moments, those hard decisions are forced upon you. The profit first system presents them before it's an issue, so you can make smart, intelligent decisions to recorrect your business prior to a reactionary or calamity situation.
And I think that, especially with you, I listened to your story in the book. You hit rock bottom, you gave away, lost a lot of your money, and something triggered that thought, like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never going to be unprofitable and blow through my money again. Is that right?
Yeah, I call it the financial heart attack. Kind of like anyone who smokes, maybe some smokers, I trust me, I get it. Smoking's bad for you. Like, I don't need to educate you on that. The thing is, it's unlikely you'll stop smoking. It's going to be very hard for me to tell you to stop smoking and convince you. Actually, it's impossible. And for you to stop smoking is nearly impossible too, because it's an established habit. Sadly, to make change, the most effective, surefire way to stop smoking permanently is to have a heart attack. The day you have a heart attack, you're like, oh my God, because it becomes this visceral, painful thing. Sadly, that's what I needed. I had the financial heart attack. I thought I knew finances. I studied finance in college, so clearly I knew it. No, I was an idiot. I had no effing clue. If I needed to lose all my money, almost lost my family. I destroyed us financially. They stuck by me. They're crazy, but they did. God bless them. I love them for that, because they gave me the time then to figure this out. But also, the mandate was in place. I had to fix this. I put this upon myself. I had to fix this because it was such a heart attack. I don't want people watching right now having to have that heart attack. Sadly, I've seen it. Some businesses are so skeptical that they feel they have to have the heart attack, or they don't think it's going to happen, but when they have the heart attack, they change. I have found there is one other way, though, so I wanted to share this, to making the change. And what it is simply testing, or small steps. It's like a smoker. Just don't smoke for a day. Yes, I know you'll have some nicotine fits and stuff, but you'll notice maybe your mouth isn't as dry. You'll see a little bit of a gain in a short period if you can just try it one time. Well, with Profit First, here's the small step just to see if this could potentially work for you. Call your bank today and set up one account. I mean, it takes a few minutes. So you can probably do it on the internet or over online or something. Set up one bank account and make it a savings account and nickname it Profit. That's step one. And step two.
I did it today.
What?
I did it today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, so easy, right? So you set up that one account, call it Profit, and now allocate 1% of your income toward profit. 1% of your income, it's so inconsequential. If $10,000 comes in, I'm saying put $100 in the profit account. If you can live off 10,000, you'll find a way to live off 9,900. You won't feel it. But what will happen is you'll have that healthy breath of profit. You're like, whoa, I had $100 of profit. Huh. Over time, I'm not saying right away, but over time, you'll say, what if I do 2% or 3% of every deposit? And you start building that muscle. So you can wait until you have your version of the financial heart attack, or you can try a small bite-sized piece that starts proving the system to yourself. And maybe you're one of the unique companies that it doesn't work for. I believe it will work for you, but maybe you're one of the unique ones. Don't make me try to prove it to you. Prove it or disprove it to yourself by actually testing it out in a small bite.
Love it. I think that in the pawn industry, especially now, before it was an easy business. You'd open the doors and money would walk in.
Yeah.
That's, it was just no problem. Now, I always say that you have to be a better leader, a better marketer, a better strategist. And I believe Profit First goes under strategy of exactly how to run your business, lean well so that you're profitable, so that you can have the mindset to say, I want to keep doing this. I'm not getting, I'm not going to get that heart attack, the financial heart attack, like you mentioned. So I think it's super important. And I'm happy that you came on the show to kind of wake people up a little bit, to stop the suffering.
Yeah, totally. You don't need to suffer. That's a sure sign that there's something fundamentally wrong with your business. Yeah. If you're in your business for months, years, decades, and you're suffering, there's something wrong with the business, and it's usually profitable.
Yeah, I talk with people all the time who I connect with from the show, and we have conversations. I've been in the business for 8 years, but I couldn't pay myself last month, or
Oh,
I've been
yeah,
in the business for 7 years and I'm still not,
not
I'm
necessary.
like, man, what's happening? And then so what happens is this: we talk. I give them an idea or two. They go back and they just go back to their same habit.
Oh yeah, the plight of the familiar. Here's the greatest irony: it is easier to do things that aren't working that you're familiar with than to do something new that you haven't done before, even if it will bring better results. It's the call of the familiar. It's like someone in a relationship. I'm in a bad relationship. I hate my significant other. I'm going to dump them. Finally, I dump them, and the next day I'm dating almost the identical person again. It's because I'm familiar with that rapport and relationship. Yet I expect maybe this is the relationship that'll work out. No, it won't.
Yeah.
So if something's not working, it's inevitable that we're doing the same thing over and over again, but now we're expecting different results. It's never going to happen. You must change a behavior. It's hard because the familiar is just so easy, even though it sucks.
Gotcha. And Pawn Family, if you're listening to the show, try something new. Go buy Mike's book right away, Profit First. You can download it on Audible. It's on Kindle. There's no excuse not to get the book, and try something new. And you never know, if it works, like it works for 75,000 other businesses, it might just do you good. And it might, open your mind to saying, what, this business works. I can make this work. And you don't have to go home with that much stress. So Mike, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Yigal, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
So how can people find you? I don't want to spell your last name.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to spell my last name. If you want to find out more, you can get the free downloads of my books. I used to write for the Wall Street Journal. You can get articles. It's at MikeMichalowicz.com. 2 ways to find it because Michalowicz is impossible to spell. In Google, type in Mike and then Mick, M-I-C. So Mike, M-I-C. The big Polish name that drops down, that's my name. You can go there. Or my nickname in high school was Mike Motorbike. The irony is I never drove a motorcycle, but I was Mike Motorbike nonetheless. So if you go to MikeMotorbike.com, that's easy to spell. That'll also forward you onto my website and you can get all that stuff for free.
I think the first time I typed that in, I typed in Mike Motorboat. And I was like, wait, that doesn't work.
Motorboat. Yeah, that is a porn site actually.
Yeah.
Sure.
You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So Pawn Family, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Remember to check us out on Facebook, Pawn Leaders Podcast Community. And if you want to have a conversation with me just to connect, go to pawnleaders.com for a complimentary strategy session. Mike, I appreciate you being here. And I hope that people pick up the book and just try something new.
I agree. Let's do this.